China, the oldest civilization on Earth. A land founded on extraordinary customs and ritual, celebrated in monuments without equal, preserved in thousands of years of learning. A country that is home to the greatest population on the planet. 1.3 billion people. A nation that is set to become the world's next superpower. This is the story of the fastest growing country on Earth, of the dreams and challenges driving its people, of individual struggle and triumph. How is the world's largest communist state becoming its most powerful economy? Can this ancient civilization survive its breakneck journey into the future? And what is the price of this whirlwind of change? This is the story of the greatest transformation on Earth, and of the people living at its heart. This is the story of life behind the Great Wall. Dawn, the People's Republic of China. Across the city of Shanghai, thousands gather to practice the ancient art of Tai Chi. Over 1,000 miles away, Mongolian nomads prepare for the biggest horse race in the world. In Beijing, the Forbidden City opens its doors to tens of thousands of tourists. To the west, in Lanzhou Steelworks, number 5 furnace comes online. And in this same moment, 12-year-old Xinjiang dreams of Olympic glory. Xiao Sui perfects a kung fu move 5 centuries old. And billionaire property tycoon Vincent Lo sees a future of limitless opportunity. It is now predicted that the Chinese economy will become the largest in the world in little more than 20 years. China already consumes more than 1/3 of the world's steel and almost half of the world's concrete. In any single minute, the Chinese nation now burns almost 2,500 tons of coal, 24 million watts of electricity, and 210,000 gallons of crude oil. It has been estimated that within 30 years, we will need another planet Earth to satisfy China's ever-growing appetite for raw materials. But for all this extraordinary explosion of industry, China still rests on traditions that are thousands of years old. In the far south of China lie the paddy fields of Longshan. And here, it's the first day of the annual rice planting.
This is a busy season for us. This is the time of year that everything needs to be planted out in all the fields and the rice paddies.
Mrs. Liao and her family are planting one of the staple foods of all China: rice. They have worked these terraces all of their lives, and their families have lived here for over 20 generations. This work is in their blood.
We get up at 6. As soon as we eat breakfast, we head out to the fields. We don't come back home until 8 or 8:30. Only us locals could handle the work. You city types wouldn't be able to keep up.
The rice terraces of Longshan are an agricultural wonder. Floating high above the clouds, stretching along 20 miles of peaks, these terraces have become known as the Dragon's Back. Chinese farmers carved these paddies from the steep slopes of a vast mountain range almost 8 centuries ago, shifting hundreds of thousands of tons of earth. But all of this labor was for good reason. For all of its vast area, less than 10% of China can actually be farmed. Every usable piece of land has to be put under the plow. And if a harvest fails, the effects can be devastating. Mrs. Liao can still remember the terrible famine of 1959.
Life was very harsh back then. There was nothing in the rice fields, and many people in our village starved to death. My grandmother died of starvation.
Four generations of the Liao family still live together. At the time of the rice planting, they get together for a family feast to celebrate the harvest to come. As part of the celebration, they cook a traditional rice dumpling wrapped in leaves. This ancient practice is still a powerful symbol of a family's wealth and success.
Hidden within the depths of China's past lies one of the greatest untold secrets of history. Many of the greatest inventions and discoveries in human history were made in China. These ancient Chinese inventions had such an incredible impact on the world that their influences are still felt to this day. China, the Middle Kingdom, the oldest continuous civilization on Earth. Since the days of Marco Polo, this exotic land has captured the imagination of the Western world. But the West has also looked down upon China as a backward country, centuries behind Europe in science and technology, a sleeping dragon that slumbered, while Western ingenuity created our modern world. "160 years ago, the British Navy underlined the West's sense of superiority. In the year 1842, a British invasion fleet of paddle-wheel steamships prepared for battle off the coast of China. They were surprised to discover that the Chinese fleet included several paddle boats of their own. The British opened fire. The Chinese warships were no match for the modern British cannon. The Chinese realized they couldn't compete against the superior military technology of the Western invaders, and with great shame, they surrendered. Commander W.H. Hall was first mate on one of the victorious British ships. He recorded his amazement at how fast the Chinese had copied the British idea of the paddle boat.
The most remarkable improvement of the Chinese Navy was the construction of several large wheeled vessels. The idea must have been suggested to them by reports concerning the wonderful power of our wheeled vessels.
Commander Hall could not have been more mistaken. In fact, far from copying the British, the Chinese had attempted to revive an ancient invention of their own. 1,000 years earlier, the Chinese had whole fleets of paddle-wheelers. By the 12th century, these paddle-boat warships had reached lengths of over 90 meters, with crews of 800 men. The paddle-boat warship was just one of many amazing ancient Chinese inventions. In 1974, 3 Chinese farmers made a stunning archaeological find, one that would prove that the technology of the ancient Chinese was by far the most advanced in the world. While digging a well, the farmers stumbled on broken pieces of a statue. They had discovered one of the legendary terracotta warriors of Qin Shi Huangdi, the first emperor of China. Excavation of a vault below revealed thousands of soldiers in battle formation, an entire army designed to follow its emperor into eternity. 250 years before Christ, this powerful force ruthlessly conquered all the rival kingdoms of China and unified them into an empire. Archaeologists believe that they have uncovered part of the answer as to what made this army so invincible. Originally, these terracotta soldiers were equipped with real weapons. Weapons that had mainly disintegrated when the farmers made their find. But archaeologists did find metal remnants of these